You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my ranking of the 10 Best Picture nominees for the Academy Awards 2024. Now, before we get into this ranking, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So the Oscars are almost upon us. Thus, the Academy Award content is about to ramp up just a little bit at least. And that means it's time for my annual ranking of the Best Picture nominees. Now, before we get started, we have to do the disclaimers. This is just my own personal ranking. This is how much I enjoyed them, not based on merit or objective filmmaking or whatever the case might be. This is just my ranking of the films and how much I liked them, how much I enjoyed them, and honestly, yeah, probably what I would put as my preferential ballot if I were handing one in. That also means it's not a prediction video of any kind. It's not the video where I tell you what should win or will win or whatever. That comes a little bit later, so be back. But just know, it's my own ranking. I know it's not going to be a popular one. I already know that. So just chill and leave your own Best Picture ranking in the comment section below. So let's cut all this chit-chat and get into the ranking of the Best Picture nominees, shall we? Occupying the bottom spot, my least favorite of the Best Picture nominees this year is Maestro. It's just a frustrating film because I see a great film in here. I understand where the vision could have gone. Unfortunately, the film ultimately doesn't understand what movie it wants to tell. Does it want to tell this relationship drama? Does it want to tell this closeted man and how that affects the wife? Did it want to tell the story of this wife who has to live and support a man that is gay or bisexual? Or does it want to give us a career like biopic of the importance of Leonard Bernstein in his work? And since it doesn't know, it tries to kind of juggle all of those things and never give us a truly satisfying any of those things. It's also too long with not great pacing. So the good moments, so it was by far the biggest mixed bag for me in this year's crop. And that's why it had to come in at number 10. At number 9, I have The Zone of Interest. So The Zone of Interest occupies a spot that happens every single year with the Oscars and me. And that is the film that I appreciate. I think is a technical feat. I understand the praise. I just appreciate it more than I actually enjoy it as a film. The Zone of Interest is not one that I think I'm like to visit ever again either. And while I think it's an interesting approach to tell this kind of story about the Holocaust and give us a different kind of perspective and a different kind of message about it all, as an actual piece of film, it leaves some to be desired, specifically in the narrative arena. I think it takes quite a while to get anywhere in that field, to be honest, and arguably never really does until the very last imagery. It's a stunning film with stunning cinematography, a great score, and wonderful sound design work. Unfortunately, it didn't have quite the emotional impact I was hoping for, and left me thinking, yeah, it was a good film, really well made, and not thinking much after that, unfortunately. At number 8, I have Killers of the Flower Moon, the latest from legendary filmmaker Martin Scorsese. And yes, of course, once more, a Martin Scorsese film scores a boatload of Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. Now, whether he wins any of those boatloads, we'll see. But as for Killers of the Flower Moon and why it's down here at number 8, it all comes down to the odd perspective of the film, the actual story that we are telling here. I understand he injected more of the Osage from the book, And I appreciate the lengths that Scorsese went to speak with the Osage County and really try to involve them in the filmmaking process. It's just a fundamental flaw of the story, telling it from the oppressor's view, does it all a huge disservice. It doesn't understand that Molly is the most interesting perspective here, and she definitely takes a back seat. And I think that's a big problem in the film, to be honest. It's also a difficult film because I was literally just seething in the movie theater, like angry for 3.5 hours, nonstop pure rage in the movie theater. And it's hard to watch a movie like that for over 3 hours. You can definitely feel this runtime. I think it's too long, to be honest. Thankfully, the performances are stunning. The story did need to be told in some fashion or another. This is a historical event we needed to know about. The costuming is great. The acting performances are all wonderful. It's a mostly well-crafted film. Unfortunately, it's just built upon a misguided base. At number 7, I have Poor Things. Now, I have to admit, this is a film that has soured more and more for me after viewing. Now, I have to say, coming out of that initial press screening viewing, I really enjoyed Poor Things. I thought it was pretty great, but I had a couple qualms with it that just kind of festered. And I thought about it more and more, and I kind of couldn't get the problems I had with the movie out of my head to once again fully appreciate the film by and large. All of the performances are fantastic. Emma Stone is great, and I do actually enjoy her character overall. And that's in large part due to Emma Stone's performance. The production design is beautiful, the costume work is fantastic, the score is lovely, and the direction is gorgeous from Yorgos Lanthimos. I love a good, weird, fantastical movie like this. My problems all kind of centered around Bella Baxter, though, and how she's kind of handled in the film. I say it in my non-spoiler review that I did back in November. I think one, we get from point A to point B without the proper development in the middle for her character. There's a lot of big moments that she has here that don't feel warranted for me. And I think that's partially due to the fact that Yorgos channels so much of her development as just a person through sex and not through other things. And then he does some weird stuff with the sexual nature that I think is misguided and ultimately not needed. Plus the entire like sexualization of this infantile character at the beginning I had a problem with, and I don't think the film does enough to really say what it wants to say about that. So I have script problems with what goes on here that really knocked Poor Things down in my books as I moved along. This is one of those films I really thought about after watching it, and I thought about it more and I thought about it more, and those problems just kind of blared out, overshadowing what I did enjoy when it came to Poor Things. At number 6, I have Anatomy of a Fall. So this actually was the first time in years that I hadn't seen all of the Best Picture nominees prior to Oscar nominations morning, and the one film I hadn't seen yet was Anatomy of a Fall. It was the latecomer. And I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was intriguing and interesting. It kept my attention literally from start to finish. I was invested in this case, and I was invested in Sandra Hüller's character. I thought she crafted such an interesting, intricate character here. The way it unfolds, the way that the storytelling happens, Justine Triet's actual direction is all fantastic. The screenplay is fantastic. All of the performances, even outside of Sandra Hüller, are wonderful. I think it falls into some like courtroom drama pitfalls. First off, I'm not as familiar, obviously, with the French legal system. So the courtroom, I was like, where is the jury? I keep hearing about the jury and I don't see it. I thought the judge was sitting here making the decision because I was like, where is the jury around here? And then they referenced one. fell into some of those like courtroom drama pitfalls, I feel like, where we just start storytelling in the courtroom rather than dealing with any sort of like facts or presenting evidence. These lawyers specifically really just tell stories. They tell fables, they go on these big tangents, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? I agree. Objection, Your Honor. There's a lot of conjecture for an actual case, in my opinion. I also think some of the cinematography choices were just kind of there. They didn't really enhance or represent anything further. They would just do some like kind of weird things out of the clear blue. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we could have left that on the cutting room floor, to be honest. But overall, I really enjoyed Anatomy of a Fall. And although it's like half in French, half in English, I think this is actually one of the most accessible of the Best Picture nominees this year. So smack dab in our middle position, kicking off the top half of things. At number 5, I have Oppenheimer. I know. Listen, it doesn't matter that I have it here at number 5 because this is your next best picture. Oppenheimer is about to literally sweep through Oscar night and win an F ton of awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. Who cares that I put it at number 5? But I know that's a hot take and controversial placement for this film because everybody absolutely adores it. And I just fell into the range on Oppenheimer that really enjoyed it, that thought it was a wonderfully crafted film. I'm perfectly cool with it winning Best Picture because it's an amazingly well-made movie. It just didn't land with me and strike me and stay with me like the other 4 here on this list did. I think our performances are all very good from top to bottom, though I do think Christopher Nolan still has a woman problem. I'm still waiting for him to craft another good female character, or at least give them enough time on screen to truly develop them. It's been a while, Nolan. It's been a while. But Nolan's direction is absolutely fantastic. I think the pacing works quite well with just a couple of lulls in its 3 hour plus runtime. The cinematography is breathtaking. It's absolutely gorgeous. The effects, both practical and VFX, are amazing. The original score from Ludwig is breathtaking. And what really elevates Oppenheimer for me personally with the third act. Without that third act and what it sits down to truly evaluate and explore, this is a much weaker film to me. But the third act really just brought it all home. So while it's not my favorite, I certainly cannot deny the absolute craftsmanship of Oppenheimer. Coming in at number 4, I have The Holdovers. What a great film. Just all around. This movie has the perfect tone for me personally. It is a feel-good story that we've seen similar versions of prior, but it has this air of cynicism to it. It has this nice dark bite right there that really make it stand out from the crowd. Paul Giamatti is a tour de force in this film, and I'm so glad he's gotten his flowers this award season. Dominic Sessa is a delight for a first-time actor, but Davine Joy Randolph, I mean, she earned that Oscar she's getting. I thought it was funny. I thought it was heartfelt. I enjoyed watching this from start to finish, though I do think it has a couple extra little like subplot stories as we move through. We add on just maybe 1 or 2 extra bits of drama into our backstories that weren't really needed and muddied the waters more than enhanced the characters for me personally. But The Holdovers is certainly one of the most enjoyable films of this year's crop, that's for sure. Coming in at number 3, I have American Fiction. This one had it all for me personally. Fantastic acting performances from top to bottom. I know some people were mad about Sterling K. Brown getting in. I was a big Sterling champion. and I'm so excited to see him in for Best Supporting Actor. Jeffrey Wright is a tour de force here. All of our supporting performances are absolutely amazing. Cord Jefferson, in his first ever feature film, kills it. Obviously, we have several first-time directors that were in the race this year, and a couple that actually made the final lineup, and Cord Jefferson is one of those who both wrote and directed the film, and he knocked it out of the park on both fronts. It was really funny. As a satire, it knocks it out of the park. I loved everything it had to say, and the new approach it took on race politics in the United States. Because that's a subject, obviously, we have talked about quite a bit, but this kind of shines a light on those discussions we've been having about it, and I really appreciated that and loved how they handled all of it. But on top of that, it's just funny. We obviously have that messaging that's at the forefront, but I was laughing a lot. Like, this is one of the funniest films I watched in 2023, but all of that lays on top of really good emotional character work for our cast here. We actually have an emotionally investing story for the characters we're following. So I loved American Fiction. It was actually one of my favorite films of the year by and large. It made my top 10, and I'm so happy to see it get so much love in the Academy Award nominations. All right, so here we are, kicking off the top two. In my runner-up position, I have Past Lives. So this film got so much hype coming out of Sundance last year that I thought, oh gosh, is this going to be one of those that, the niche crowd absolutely adores and I just cannot get into? No, that wasn't the case at all, thankfully. I adored Past Lives. What a subtle, beautiful film with absolutely amazing performances from all three of our main cast here. It is a drama that presents as a pseudo romance, but one that tells a story so unlike any other story we've really seen in a film like this. A story of what could have been, presented in such a caring, beautiful fashion. Celine's song, also in her directorial debut, delivers an absolute emotional tour de force, directed to perfection, written to perfection. This is one of my favorite endings in film for 2023. It's so relatable, raw, real, authentic, honest. What I love so much is that every turn, there could be melodrama, there could be this big event, and it subverts that each and every time to give us something more real, not Hollywoodized. And it works so well for these characters. It leaves you in a place that you're absolutely devastated, but also satisfied. You understand, you get it, and it kind of leaves you just contemplating your own life in all the best ways possible. Past Lives is beautiful, stunning, perfect, amazing. I love it. And that's why it's number two. So if I had all that to say about Past Lives, what could possibly come in above that on my own personal ranking? Well, if you know me, number one's not going to be a big shock. At number one, my favorite of the Best Picture nominees is Barbie. Now, on a technical aspect, when you just lay down the bare bones of it, I don't think Barbie is the best crafted of these films, particularly when it comes to how it tells its story specifically. I understand everybody's criticism with the subplots and how they unfold. The thing is, I didn't care. I still had fun with the Will Ferrell stuff. I was still laughing. There were jokes to be had there that I enjoyed. And those type of small quibbles did not take away anything from the film itself. Barbie literally had everything I want in a movie. I was laughing, I was emotional, it had the heart that needed to be said, it had the message that needed to be said, while still providing a big, bombastic, entertaining film for the masses. The production design is out of this world, and I think is still the best production design in 2023. Whether it wins that award or not, that will not negate what I believe. The performances are fantastic. Margot Robbie, girl, I think you were robbed. I'll say it. I think Greta Gerwig brings such a beautiful humanity to this film. Ryan Gosling is stunning. America Ferrera is great. Everybody comes to play in this movie. I think the messaging is exactly what it needed to be for this film to reach that broad audience it's seeking to hit. Just like American Fiction, I laughed a lot. I thought this was a really funny film with some great physical comedy, some wonderfully written jokes. The music is obviously great, but what really just kind of put the cherry on top for Barbie was the fact that Greta Gerwig did stop in all of the madness and all of the hypermania. She stopped to give us human moments, to give us time to breathe and experience life for the first time with Barbie. And it makes for some of the most magical moments in film for 2023. So I know it's turned into the big hot take movie of Oscar season. I know it's been controversial since released, but if you watched my top 10 favorite movies of 2023, if you've seen my background, if you saw my Halloween costume, well, you knew there was probably no doubt. Barbie was, in fact, my pick for the best of the best picture nominations for 2024. So that's it. That is my ranking of the Best Picture nominees this year. Let me know what you thought of my ranking, and more importantly, what I really want to see is your own ranking of the 10 Best Picture nominees, either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including all of my Oscar-related content as we near the big night. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.